Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody. Check out my
How's it
cute
going?
shirt.
It's super cute.
Now, I was going to wear these
Yeah.
as a pre-Halloween, because I always wear these on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot that I have to wear headphones now, and I cannot. Katie just watched me spend 5 minutes trying to make this situation work, and guess what? It doth not. So,
She actually
anyway,
gave herself
there's
a
this.
pretty good whack on the head with them.
Yeah, at one point the horns thumped me on the side of the head. So, anyway,
They are
I
great,
will
though.
have a different costume for tomorrow. I usually wear
Yes.
these horns because I think they're so cool. I
They
love
are
them.
so
I've had them
cool.
for years,
They're super cute. Yeah.
but they don't. Yeah, they don't get along with this headset at all. Not even
No,
close.
not even. Well,
Terry,
Boone.
how can you get a pair? You know what? I think I bought these at Walmart. There's a lot of places now that have like headband Halloween things.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple of them because I just think that's a really easy way to pop something on. But I love these, kind of demon horn kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they stayed on me.
It would be good.
But yeah, no, it's not happening. Okay. Anyway.
It's a problem. Now, tomorrow is our Halloween party here at True Crime Squad. And that'll be at 3 p.m. Mountain. And we have some really fun stuff planned for you guys. So
We do.
if you're not Halloweening by then, come and play with us. It's going to be fun. For sure. And then
Yes, it is.
our Halloween party is here at my house. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on the cocktail. I wanted to do a signature cocktail that was Halloweeny. And now, I now have about 6,000 ideas, so I got to hone it in. But yes, we're going to have fun. And if you're a local, please come trick or treat me. My God, we decorate to the nines and we get no trick or treaters. So please come trick or treat me if you're local, please.
Mm-hmm. Please.
Pretty
We're all
please.
going to be there.
Yes,
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great. Yes. All righty. Well, let's see. You had a show and tell.
I do have a show and tell. So I
Yes.
showed you guys this cute little dragon that I'm putting out as a new offering over on Fidget Whimsy. She's up there now. He, I guess, because I named him Dionysus, so I guess it's a he. But you see, it's kind of like the big dragons, only just littler.
Yeah.
So pretty, purple and black and white. But what I have not showed you before was the egg that you get with Dionysus, which the kids these days, they're big on a dragon in an egg, and they can
In
be
an
kind of
egg.
spendy.
Mm-hmm.
So this little dude's only $12, and this is the egg.
Oh, that egg is cute.
Pretty?
Yes.
It's so pretty. And then this is the cute little dragon that comes along with. So I'll
that
put
is
a link
so
to it.
fun.
Isn't it fun? I'm really happy with it. I like how it turned out. I'll put a link to it in the chat, but it's just over at fidgetwhimsy.com. If you're looking for something like that to pass on. And I know some people, some of these get kind of expensive. So
Oh,
I've
they
been
do.
trying
Yeah.
to make them smaller. So you still get something really cool, but they're not like 40, $50.
40, $50. Yeah. Cute. That'd be a cute stocking stuffer too.
Wouldn't it?
Or you know what? It would also be a cute white elephant gift.
Mm-hmm. It would. 'Cause
If you give
lots of people
appropriate
are
white
into-
elephant gifts. I don't. But
No,
if you
no.
do,
Not at all.
no.
But yeah. Right? That is a big egg, right? I know. I feel bad for that dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough. Right
That
there.
is it's a hard life, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But dragons are magic, so
Oh, Jamie, you're waiting for the moose. Oh, okay. I will get the moose up.
yeah.
I know
what
I
are you
showed you
doing
guys the
with
moose,
your
and
life?
then the moose isn't on my store.
The moose is on my kitchen table.
Yes, you have a moose.
I do.
I know. The moose is so cute.
So cute. All right. Well, shall we get into it? We have a bunch.
Let's do, because yeah, we do.
So we're going to start with James Craig. we're going to start with
Oh,
him because he's a part of our Mormon Misdeeds series. And so we're going to start with him so that we can put this episode up there because that's, well, what we're doing. Okay. Okay. We haven't updated James Craig in a while, and there's a bunch. And I'm glad we're
yeah.
updating him because what we learned today is he's going to trial in November. It's coming right up.
Is he?
So
Are
this
they?
is James.
Ooh.
I hope they are. I'm planning on streaming it if they stream it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was already time.
So if you remember, this is the dentist who was poisoning his wife in her protein shakes.
Yeah.
He apparently had done this to her once before, been drugging her. And now this time around, he was having an affair with a dental hygienist, I believe, or a psychiatrist, another medical professional that he'd met at a conference
Hmm.
and who had no idea he was married. In the meantime, he was working on offing his wife. He had used a computer in the dental office to search for some of the poisons that he ordered to use on her. He was using his dental license to do so. Well,
I
get
mean,
this.
duh.
Back in April, he got in some trouble. What was he doing? Well, he was again trying to use his dental license to his benefit. So this is, so she died on March 18th, 2023. So it's been about 18 months. So apparently back in April, he was in trouble because he was working through other inmates, asking an inmate who was getting out to place letters in his garage and truck at his home. He wrote the letters inside the jail to try to make them look as though his late wife, Angela, had written them, appearing to be suicidal.
Oh, you shithead.
Yeah. So, guys, I just don't want to live anymore, so probably poisoning myself in my energy or my protein drinks just in case you want to know kind of stuff.
Holy shit. Like, I mean, all of those things have already been searched. So,
Yeah.
like, if those things turned up suddenly, that wouldn't be a
Mhm.
little suspicious. I
Yeah.
mean, this
Yeah.
dude is not a criminal mastermind by any means.
He's such a jackass. So then he has been in trouble again within the last couple of months for again, this one kills me. He sent a letter to a former inmate and his mother. Hold on, I have to back up. The inmate that he was trying to get to place the letters, he was offering him a whole bunch of free dental care. Once I get out, I will fix you up. I'll fix your family up. Like, I'm going to take care of you. That's what he told
Bro,
him.
you're not getting out.
Mm-hmm. And you're not a
You
dentist
poisoned your
anymore.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you used your dental license to order poison that you shouldn't have had. Yeah. So, move forward now. He sent a letter to an inmate and his mother asking them to recruit one or two attractive women. Now, they had to be attractive, so don't get that wrong, okay? They had to be
According to who?
attractive. According
Gross James
to
Craig?
yes, Gross James Craig.
Yes.
He wanted them to attract or to recruit a couple of women that would be willing to give false testimony on the stand. The women would be posing as friends of Angela, who would say that Angela learned about the affair, wanted a divorce, and had asked these women to help her to frame Craig for the crime.
Are you kidding?
But James made a mistake when he sent that letter. Well, he's a dumbass, and he sent it to the wrong address, and it bounced and came back to the jail. So the jail read the letter, and they said, "Oh, well, this isn't good, is it, James?"
Yeah.
So
Holy
he's in
shit.
trouble again. This seems like so many things that innocent people do, you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Always trying to get people to lie on the stand for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I loved how it had to be attractive women. Don't be getting me any dogs up here. They have to be beautiful. to be friends of mine. Yeah.
He's such
Yes.
trash. Ugh.
He's the actual worst.
Yeah.
So now we know. Now his trial has already been delayed twice due to his attorney's requests. So we just learned yesterday.
I'm sure they're like, Your Honor, our client is so guilty that we need more time to figure out how to say he's not guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and on that, the beautiful women were each going to be paid $5,000. And the inmate, he and his mother were getting, you guessed it, free dental work. Especially, apparently, mom has some real dental issues, and Craig told that inmate that her issues were probably somewhere in the ballpark of $30,000 to $60,000, and he was going to hook her right up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What, in hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sandwillow said the Mormon Church needs to put a statement out that divorce is better than murder.
Right? They sure do, because why is this happening in the Mormon Church so much lately?
Yeah.
Well, we know why, but I agree. There needs to be some kind of a acknowledgement of this and telling people, please stop killing each other, for fuck's sake.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So his charges are 1 count of first-degree murder after deliberation, 2 counts of tampering with evidence, and now a perjury charge, which is a Class 5 felony. He has pleaded not guilty to the perjury charge.
Oh, has he?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So we're going to keep a close eye on this, but we are hearing now that this is going to start in December. Yeah, December. So jury selection is supposed to start November 21st, and opening statements are scheduled to begin December 2nd. So we'll be on top of that. If we can stream that one, we are going to stream that one.
Yes. Yes, we are.
So that is what's up. Oh dear, Tom's cat Sadie has also decided that she is a true crime cat. Ooh. She's not happy he keeps putting his keyboard on top of her. Well, Sadie, do not put up with this. Crazy he thought he could get away with it, for sure. This is in Aurora, Colorado. He's in the Arapahoe jail. Yep. I know. I heard it.
Have you ever used GPS in the Colorado area and had to... Arapahoe is a big road that you cross 9 million times. Mm-hmm. And GPS calls it Arapahoe 9 million times. It's terrible.
At least it used to. Maybe that's changed,
hilarious.
But... Yeah. Oh, man. We've had several business trips to Denver where we were absolutely scandalized by the time we left.
Oh, my God. After a while, it's just so damn funny because it just...
GPS, you have got to clean it up. Yeah.
Right.
Not good.
Not good.
I know. When I saw he was in the Arapahoe jail, I was like, oh, my God. Well, here we go. Right. We got a little bit in Donna of Adelson.
We do. Here she is looking her age. She's got a new attorney, guys. Yes, she does, and I'd be happy to tell you about it if I could find the article about it. So she got a new attorney. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you about that new attorney in just a moment.
In 5, 4.
Yeah, here we go. So this attorney is a former judge who's back to being an attorney. That's interesting. Her previous attorneys had to withdraw because they were disqualified over conflict of interest.
Thanks to Charlie. I was thinking about this today. I'm like, he sprang from her loins, he suckled from her breast, and this is the way he repays her.
Gross, and yes, it is. So... Adelson has hired Jackie Fulford, who is a former circuit judge and chief assistant state attorney in the 2nd Judicial Circuit, and Josh Zellman, who is a Tallahassee criminal defense and DUI lawyer. Okay, so Fulford and Zellman, they each have their own firm. They don't actually work together, but they are going to be working together, of course, after Adelson is pleading not guilty to charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation in the contract killing of Dan Markle. We all know her son Charlie is already in prison for this. The defense wants a jury trial and has asked the state to hand over discovery, which I guess the other attorneys couldn't have just handed over. I don't know how that all works. Remember, on the very first day of jury selection is when her attorney had to quit last month, which is very frustrating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's got attorneys now. We don't really know yet when trial is going to be.
But it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while because they have, they're brand new to all of the information and everything.
Yeah.
But it is slowly progressing.
Well, good. Well, let's talk a little about Sarah F. Boone. So, Attorney Owens has been yapping his jaw just a little bit. He said a couple of things.
He sure has.
He said that Sarah was shocked by the verdict. Of course you were, Sarah. I would expect no less.
No, me neither.
He also said that he begged her to take the plea deal, and she absolutely wouldn't hear of it. But he really
That's probably
thought
one
that
of those
would be,
big outbursts that happened in the jail.
I'm sure it was, yeah. But she would not do it. And I sit on two sides of this one. I know that the trial was really hard for George's family. And so maybe a plea would have been better on that front. And for her family, too, you selfish cow. But at the same time, she's getting quite a bit more by not pleading, So maybe it's better. At least we hope. We'll see. I mean...
Well, she's also shown the world what a heinous human being she is.
Yep, she's taken absolutely no doubt off the table.
Undoubtable there, yeah.
But I had promised you a Sarah Boone verdict song, and here it is. This is not the ballad we're used to. It's more of a hard rock kind of song. I wanted to be sure it sounded like, the evil bee she is. So I think we did it. You guys tell me.
She laughed with the zip sealed tight, floating George's cries in the dead of night. He begged for air, she watched him fight, said that's on you, and she cut off the lights. Prosecutor showed the tail on her phone, that's my name, don't wear it out. But the batting hand, her laughter sound as his pleas were faint, but she won't back down. Prosecutor showed the tail on her phone, that's my name, don't wear it out. With the batting hand, her laughter sound as his pleas were faint, but she won't back down. Suitcase confessions locked up tight. She held the power, she held the night. Could have taken the plea, but her pride's too loud. Now a jury's hand pulls her to the ground. Battered spouse, she cried, the evidence shows. Taurus took the hits, that's how it goes. Calling the cops, making false alarms, punishing him with her own set of harms. Owens warned you should take the deal, but Sarah shrugged, refused to kneel. Now he's left as proof in bruises and tears. His story's clear, despite her sneers. Suitcase confessions cold and dark, her twisted tail left its mark. Her chilling gaze as he begs and calls. Now justice rings down the courtroom halls. Didn't tip it all the way she pleads, but how could she know she'd run out of air? It wasn't my fault, she cries at last, but her words are shallow, empty and fast. She wrote her letters, demanded her say. 9 lawyers through who refused to stay. A judge's warning left ignored. Now she's guilty, justice scored. Suitcase confessions locked and tight. She held him trapped in that endless night. Her cold laughter etched in steel and stone. Now she's left to answer
Good job. That summed it up beautifully.
That will go up on our SoundCloud later today. But yeah, there you go. There you go. What a fool.
Love it.
I agree. Steph said, I started laughing at Sarah, but at the end of the trial, I was so sad, right?
I know. My God.
Like, we all knew she sucked, but boy, the gravity of it by the time this was over was so heavy. So shocking.
Was.
Thank you, Tom.
Definitely was.
So, straight to hell with you. What does EIC say? First you go to jail, and then you go to hell.
Yep.
That's for you, Sarah. Okay. Well, we got to keep crack-a-lacking. Oh, talk to us about Nick Alahverdian.
Ooh. Some interesting doings there. Maybe it's nothing. I don't know. Here's how old Nick is looking in court these days. You know, more like the rancid sack of mayonnaise that he is, as we all know. But
excuse me, my lady.
You're right. Yeah, he's kind of dropped the old English, and he's not got any charm, whatever.
He never did.
No. Never did. So now, in a pretrial conference that happened in the case that's in Provo, Utah, his lawyer, Daniel Diaz, did ask for a continuance until next month and said, the state and I think, are close to a possible resolution, and we're trying to explore that a little more. There was no further explanation, but that sounds like potentially plea deal. So maybe we're going to see that case be a plea. We don't know. There is a trial or a hearing to discuss what's going on November 19th. And the judge says if this isn't resolved by then they're going to set a trial date. So we might see him plead in the Provo case. I don't know if we will or not, but it's kind of looking that way just a little.
If he pleads in one, he'll probably plead in the other. So that would be amazing.
Right?
I hope for the victims
like
that happens. This is so old, and these women need to get on with their lives. So I hope that happens for them, that they see the plea.
I do too.
If it's what they want. I guess I should preface that. If it's what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would kind of think it is, because who wants to have to relive any of this shit?
Right.
And see his dumb face in court and everything, you know?
Gran said, I can't see him pleading. He's so narcissistic. It's a good point, too. But I think he doesn't like jail. But you're going to stay there, darling.
Yeah.
And when these are over and you're sentenced and you're sitting in prison in Utah, then you're going to get extradited, because there's charges against you all over the place, bro.
Yep.
So
yeah, here and in the UK. And that's the thing. I think that the having to admit his identity, he's kind of fallen off his own little pedestal a bit.
Yeah.
And it seems like maybe reality's kicking into him a little, that this whole ruse is definitely over.
Yeah. Where's his wife from England? Good question.
Yeah. Haven't seen her at any of these hearings.
No, we haven't. Also, I can't find anything that indicates that she came to the States with him. I don't know.
Yeah. I doubt she did.
I kind of do too.
He does look a little defeated. He doesn't look nearly as arrogant and sure of himself. Remember when, they asked him in the UK, a reporter asked him, is this game over now that you're getting extradited? And he said, the game is afoot. You know, all Sherlock Holmesy.
Yes.
We're not really seeing that guy now. We're just seeing the actual trash that he is.
Yeah. The scared little boy in jail, really.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
And now he's in American jail. And Scottish jail, when they pick on you, they just sing Leaving on a Jet Plane. And in American jail, they beat your ass. So I can't imagine it's been too fun for him.
Yeah, got mouse. He's in Utah. He's been in Utah for a bit. Yeah. They're still bringing him with oxygen. Every trial, every court date, when they get him to the courthouse, they're delayed because they're trying to get a new oxygen tank on him and stuff. So he's still doing the oxygen thing and the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, another person who thinks they're smarter than they are, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May have just delayed himself consequences for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
but he did not, win the game.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into Delphi because there's a lot there.
Mm.
Oh, Nick Alahverdian's crimes. The ones that he's being tried for right now are rape, but he also there's some pending charges for $200,000 worth of financial fraud against his stepfather, as well as sexual assault in the UK. And I had read that there actually, because of his DNA hitting the system, there are some other cases in the US that he may end up being charged into. Starting to think he's a serial rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a real piece of shit. That's what he is.
Mm-hmm. He's absolutely terrible. Yep. All right. Well, let's get into Delphi because there's a lot, and it is a lot. So we didn't update Delphi yesterday because they were still in court by the time we did the show. And so this is 2 days worth. There was a filing this morning from the defense. Yet again, this is their second request since this trial started to bring in the Odinism theory. The reason why is because they had, oh Lord, hold on, Jerry Holman on the stand on Saturday. And they asked him about the cut branches over the girls. And he had a theory, which kicked the door open for their theory. At least they're hoping.
I hope so, because that Holman dude is such an idiot.
Oh, he's so awful. He said the sticks may have been placed. All he does is shoot out of his ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything he says is like just something he came up with.
Mm-hmm.
He says the sticks, and this was questioning from the prosecutor, that the sticks may have been placed as a part of undoing. So undoing is a crime scene behavior considered an attempt to symbolically reverse homicide or restore honor to the victims. Why he would have even said that, I can't even imagine. But he did.
He's an arrogant dick. So, yeah, they should be able to refute that, shouldn't they?
Yeah. So they're like, all right, we're talking about it. He's making a theory. Then we want to bring in our theory. We'll go let them. I seriously doubt it. What she's done so far with their filings as during the trial is just mostly ignore them.
Yeah.
Just going to let him just ignore him until it's over, I guess. Yeah. Right? That does seem odd given how they were placed. But these guys, they've had an answer for everything, you know?
Yeah, but answers coming from people who really don't know shit.
Mm-mm.
Who shouldn't be giving opinions in court because these are not expert opinions.
Mm-hmm. Kranick would definitely allow it. I agree. So would Judge Boyce. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyway, we know that filing has come up. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. So let's take a step back then to yesterday. Let me get. Uh-oh.
Right, Jess? Jess says this case makes me need a rage room. Me too. Makes me so goddamn mad.
Mm-hmm. Freaking Nancy Grace. And if you guys like Nancy Grace, just ignore this. I can't stand her. I cannot stand the shit she's done to people. But she showed up in court today for 2 hours. 2 whole hours. It's the first time she's been there at all, even though she's been spouting all of her shit on her show about it. You know, because of course he's guilty in her eyes. I'm guessing Nancy Grace doesn't know a damn thing about this case. But of course he's guilty. And she says today, she does a video of her out in front of the courthouse with that chomping at the bit kind of stuff she does when she talks. Mm-hmm. And saying that it's obvious from being in court today, he was not psychotic and those confessions will stand. Okay, first of all, you were there for 2 hours. Second of all, shut up. Yes, and in that dumb hat. Yeah. She's so belligerent. I cannot stand her.
Are you a doctor who can diagnose psychosis? Because if you're not, shut up.
I never liked Nancy Grace, but I especially never liked Nancy Grace when she went to the murder scene at Moscow and posed in front of the murder house with another journalist with a big smile on her face with a tweet about happy to see my old friend and acting like this was some kind of joyous occasion. And people were like, what are you doing? Yeah. Not a fan.
was so
Again,
gross.
if you like her, don't let me offend you, but oh man, that kind of stuff. But to see her say that today, I was like, dude, have you looked at this case at all? She has
Right.
not.
No.
She's not. Boo. Anyway, let's step back to yesterday. So court starts at 9 a.m. Judge Gohl tells the jury that, okay, so the state puts in 2 video interviews with Alan. This is from October 13th and October 26th, 2022. Part of them, now get this, the judge tells part of the videos are redacted as they do not pertain to the investigation. And that in itself makes me go, why wouldn't it all pertain to the investigation? But
If
okay.
Yeah. If it doesn't pertain to the investigation, why are you even showing it?
Well, they're not showing it, but why would any of it be on? Why would there be anything on the video that wasn't? Well, anyway.
I don't know. That is weird.
So the judge allows both videos. Of course she does. So she does let the jury know that, or the courtroom know that the jury was able to have supervised time with their phones last night and were able to look at work emails. She has to report this stuff on the record, so we hear this stuff all the time.
Sure.
So in the first video on October 13th, we have Mullen and Liggett from law enforcement explain in the video why they are talking to Alan. They said they read him his rights and that he can leave at any time. He says he understands. He reads to Alan what they learned from Doolin's interview with Alan in February 2017, which is basically that he was in the area on that day. It starts out more friendly. They kind of joke about their ages. He talks about he's almost 50. They ask if he uses Facebook. He says no, but his wife does. They ask him about his life. He tells them he's married. He has a daughter who is also married. He talks about when he graduated from high school. He graduated in 1991, studied accounting at Ivy Tech, and then joined the military. He talks about being in the National Guard, talking about living in Indiana most of his life. He says he does not consistently go to church and has no criminal record. He tells him he has a heart attack. He had a heart attack in 2010 at the age of 37, and that he suffers from depression and anxiety. He tells him that he worked at CVS since 2013 and previously worked at a different CVS, and before that he worked for Walmart for 10 years. So he's a pharmacy tech.
Mm-hmm.
So then they bring up February 2017. He says he started that day in Peru, Indiana, while his wife was at work. He left there around 11:15. He said he went home and got a jacket even though it was still warm out. He says he walked down by the bridge, went out a little bit on a platform and watched the fish, and then he left. He says he parked on the bridge side or near a smaller bridge. They show him a map and explain where things are on the map. He says he didn't go out all that often, but it varied, and he had gone out a time or two in the winter months to that area.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him if there was any other route he would have driven to get there. He says maybe, but really they always took the same route through downtown to go to where he had gone. So he says he was driving downtown a few days after the girls died when that other officer called, and he agreed to meet them at the grocery store because that's where he was going. He said he thought about that crime a lot because he figured he was probably there around the time the girls were. So he was, wanting to be able to answer any questions, jog any
Sure.
memories. Again, he says he saw 3 girls. He thought one was babysitting the other 2. One was older, but they all looked alike.
Mm.
At that point, somebody in the courtroom, Kyla Russell, says that he was shaking his head, that Rick Allen was shaking his head at that.
Yes.
In the video, he says there were 2 cars at the end of the trail near the entrance, a sedan and an SUV. He says he thinks he left around 1:30 to 1:45. He says he knows that area fairly well. He worked at a Walmart community event near the trails years ago and also worked near the Carlton Bridge on that same community service day. So he's been in the area before.
Mm-hmm.
He said there were no other vehicles where he parked that day. And They asked how far he went out on the bridge. He said he didn't know how many feet it was, but it was never, he really never went past that first pattern.
Mm.
They ask where he walked to get on the bridge. He doesn't give a clear answer. They ask him about what cars he's had. He said he had a red Ford before he got his black car. So again, they ask about the 3 girls. He says he didn't see anyone else on the trails. He said, I don't remember seeing anyone else that day. If they did, they didn't stand out to me. He said that he was paying more attention to his stock ticker because he was trading. I mean, he has a background in accounting, it sounds like. And he was trying to get rich, he told them, and they all laugh. He said day trading was a hobby for him. So they ask what he was wearing. Again, he says he was wearing blue jeans and a black off-brand Carhartt jacket.
Mm.
Now, before it said blue. So I don't know if the notes that we're seeing are incorrect or if that.
Well, and I think we've
different.
seen blue. Somewhere we saw it say, somebody said blue or black.
Okay.
That it could have been one, maybe like he has both colors.
Mm-hmm. They asked if he was wearing a hat. He said it would have been the skull cap he kept in that jacket pocket, if he was. They asked if he was wearing tennis shoes or what he was wearing on his feet. He said it could have been tennis shoes or combat boots or work boots. During the interview, you can see Mullen sitting in the corner texting. Then he stops and asks what phone he had in 2017. Alan says he doesn't know, but that he's had his current phone for several years.
Mm.
So then he asks if he has a photo of his car and if they can confirm some of this information by searching his home and extracting data from his current phone. They ask if they can do that immediately. So Rick asks, how long are you going to have my phone? And they tell him that they won't need it for very long.
Okay.
He says, yeah.
Him giving permission?
Yeah, he tells him they can extract that information from his current phone. So then they read him another round of Miranda rights as it pertains to the cell phone extraction. And then in the video he says, I don't want to be someone else's fall guy. I thought we were just talking. And I haven't thought about this in a long time. I don't want you guys to get someone from the public so we can just close this thing. I think he's starting to smell a rat. At this point, you should have clammed up, Rick, and gotten an attorney.
Yeah, should have.
But he said, I'm starting to think, partway through the conversation, he says, I'm starting to think I'm the main lead here. And Liggett says, oh no, we just decided to start picking back through this from the very beginning. There's no fall guy.
Bullshit.
And Alan says, if you think I might have actually done this and you want to get a warrant or something, that's fine. But then he does let them look through his current phone and says he'll look for the phone he had in 2017, but he decides not to sign anything until he talks to his wife. He says to them, am I an angel of a person? No. But I guess I just don't want you looking through every website I ever checked. He said he's worried that they'll find pieces close to fitting and make it fit. Then he says, I don't think you're coming after me, but I want closure for the family as much as anyone else. His wife was in the courtroom, very emotional watching this play out. So, and then Alan says, well, there's nothing to tie this to me. I'm not worried. I had nothing to do with it. If I had anything useful to you, I would give you anything I had. So then they tell him why they want to look at his car. And then Alan talks about watching Dateline with his wife and saying, I don't want to be that story. And they keep pressing him. You know, they want to search this. They want to do this. They want to do that. And he finally says, you know, this is out of left field. I want to talk to my wife before I do anything. This impacts her more than it impacts me. So they leave the room for a minute. He checks his phone. They come back in and show him photos of his car going to the trail. And they say, we've been able to talk to your wife and daughter. And say his wife and daughter say talk about his mental health issues. That he has depression and anxiety. They show him a picture of Bridge Guy and ask if this is you, which he denies. He said, I was going to shoot myself one night. I don't have psychological issues because I went out and killed 2 girls. basically saying that he's been suicidal in the past.
And I mean, he had a heart attack at 36. So yes,
7,
of course, or 37. The depression and anxiety, like Jess had said, potentially some brain damage, depending on how big of a heart attack it was. Like those things are pretty normal considering that heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan tells him he feels like he's being interrogated. He says, "What info do you have? You have that I was out there, and I'm the one who told you that." Correct. There was never a single lead. Out of 50,000 leads they had come in, not a single one of them pointed to Richard Allen.
Right.
So then Liggett starts lying to him and saying, "We have people that saw you." Then he leaves the room, and Alan says, "You're trying to change my words around." Mullen shows him the bridge guy again and says, "The question is this you?" And Alan says, "No." Mullen says, "You were out there to do this to the girls, or you were trying to introduce them to someone." And he continues to deny that. And then he says, "You know what? Arrest me or take me home. I'm done. You're not going to find anything that connects me to the murders. You've lost my trust, and now you've pissed me off. You're a expletive." I don't know what he said. I'm going to say bastard. Let's say that. I made that up, just to be clear. In the video, he gets up and leaves. And when he marches out of there, there's laughter in the courtroom. People are like, "Yeah, good, go." All right, then they take a break. Come back from break at 11. And now here's the other video. So this is with Holman interviewing Alan.
Oh, boy.
So he tells Alan what they took from the house and what's being tested. He tells them that they took swabs from a lot of the items. He asks him if he's ever loaned any of his items, like the gun, out to anyone where DNA could have been transferred. He says he did not. He asks if he had the gun with him on February 13th. He says he did not. In the video, he tells him that the Sig Sauer matches the cartridge from the crime scene. He laughs. Alan laughs in disbelief and says he doesn't need to read the ballistics report. He says there's no way. Holman says, "I'm on your side." Oh, fuck yourself, Jerry Holman. Holman asks...
the cops are never on your side. Just be clear. Everyone
they're
know
not.
that. The police are never on your side. When you are being interrogated like that, they are not.
And if they might pretend to be your friend, but they ain't. Yeah. So he asks him about saying it's over during the search. "The damage is done," Alan replies. And we already know this, that he'd said that now you've already wrecked my life, making people think I did this. Yeah. He said the media will portray him in a certain way. Holman tells him the media will portray him in a certain way and asks, "Are you the mastermind?" And Alan laughs and says, "Mastermind. Okay."
Yeah, mastermind? The hell does that even mean?
Right. He asks Holman if he realizes what he's going through, telling him he has anxiety and all kinds of stress, and says there's no way around from my gun was anywhere near those girls or the bridge. He says, "Go ahead and do what you're going to do. Anyone who knows me knows I could never, even if I wanted to. That is not me." Holman tells him that science doesn't lie and the death penalty is on the line, and Alan says he doesn't care. Holman tells him that he was the last one to contact the girls. Just lying some more, and Alan denies that and says he didn't even know them, and that's just flatly not true. He says, "Go ahead," and when he threatens the death penalty, he says, "Go ahead and kill me. You'll make my wife rich." At this point, Holman leaves the room for a minute. The crime scene photos are laid out on the table at that point, but Alan does not look at them. He comes back with a man who does DNA swabs of his mouth and lips. And then after he leaves, Holman says, "The ball is in your court." He says they have more evidence than the bullet. He says they know he's bridge guy and that there are 5 witnesses saying that he is. Alan says,
Police can lie to you. Don't forget that.
"I'm not telling you I did something I didn't fucking do. There's nothing you have to implicate me because I wasn't out there." Holman, your conscience is trying to tell you to get out in front of this. Alan, if you're going to arrest me, arrest me. I'm done talking. Nothing you have is going to show me anywhere near the murder of those little girls.
These are Holman's interrogation techniques. Remember how he was talking about them?
Yeah. That he's so very proud of. Yes.
Yeah, real successful there, buddy.
So then he leaves the room for a minute, comes back again, and tells him he has witnesses that saw him with a gun on February 13th. Rich Gallen says, I told you I was on the trail. I didn't tell you I was at a murder scene. I'm not going to tell you something that didn't happen so you can feel better about this. He also says his wife will tell police that he would never do this. And his wife in the courtroom is nodding her head. His poor wife, Kathy, she's been through hell. So the very day that police ask for people to come forward about being there, I did, Alan tells Holman in the video. He tells Holman that he thinks that he's trying to trick him. Holman leaves the room again. When he returns, he tells Alan that his depression has gotten worse since the murders. If I had murdered 2 girls, I'd have depression too, Holman tells him. Well, I did not murder 2 little girls, Alan replies. He says that he only carries his gun when he goes night fishing or mushroom hunting. So at this point, Holman, who's back on the witness stand just watching this video along, tells the court that he isn't lying to Alan, but that he told him several lies as a tactic. No, that is lying, Holman.
That is lying.
In the video, I feel like Holman doesn't know the truth from a lie at this point. He's told so many lies throughout the course of this investigation that which way is up at this point.
Well, and in his mind, anything he says is the truth. Like, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. In the video, Holman says, I can't present this evidence to a jury of your peers before leaving again. I don't know what that means. He comes back later and Alan says that his wife Kathy wants to talk to him and goes and gets her. And Alan says, what kind of good person kills 2 people? So at this point in the interview, he had not been read his rights. Holman says that he really was read his rights, but they just didn't get that part recorded.
Right. Oh, darn it. We can definitely trust you as you've been lying to him. Bullshit.
Yeah. So Rick Allen hugs his wife. He tells her that he can't believe they think he committed these murders. He says, you know me. You know this isn't something I could do. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you. I know you know I didn't do this. And she asks her husband how the bullet from the gun ended up at the crime scene, saying, they're going to come after you, and I don't know how to answer that.
They're lying about that.
He tells his wife nobody's in trouble and that he loves her. He said they're not going to get away with this. And at that point, Richard Allen turned around and winked at his wife in the courtroom. She says, again in the video, she can't understand where the bullet came from. He tells his wife to say she wants an attorney, and then they will let him leave. So this is a little different from the note that we had. Again, we are relying on pool notes from the reporters that are in the room.
Right.
On Saturday, that said that they would let her leave. So I'm not sure what's true there. But regardless, he did tell her to say that she wanted an attorney.
They should have said they want an attorney for him. He's the one getting questioned.
So then Richard Allen asks Holman to let Kathy leave and hugs her as she leaves. Holman tells Kathy to tell her husband to do the right thing as she leaves the room. Allen tells him, you're going to pay for what you're doing to my wife. In the video, Holman screams at Allen, and Allen says, arrest me then. He said, I'm happy to. You're fucking guilty, and I'm going to prove it. And that's the end of it.
Well, buddy, all your stuff sucks. You haven't proved it. Your interrogation techniques were useless.
Yep.
You can't interrogate someone into guilt if they aren't guilty.
No. So they come back from lunch about 2 o'clock with John Galapu. He's the former warden at Westville. This is the prison, of course, that Richard Allen was immediately plunked into. He says Allen lived in A-Pod A. It has 4 cells for inmates on suicide watch. They're a 12-foot by 8-foot cell. The cell includes a bed bolted to the ground, a toilet, 3 sets of clothes, and 2 tablets to download apps, make calls, listen to music, etc. Each suicide watch cell has a camera on the ceiling, and the lights are on 24 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
How destructive.
Yeah. Inmates on suicide watch are seen by medical daily, have recreation time 5 days a week, and shower 3 times a week. He said said that Alan saw his family twice while at Westville, being the only inmate granted that privilege. Oh yeah, well maybe because he's only been accused of a crime?
Right. He should never even have been there. Why is he in a fucking prison?
So he said when they first put him in there, his suicide watch was supervised by other inmates. And then they started putting him with correctional officers. Yeah.
That means they're not supervising. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm. This only happened after he received legal mail on April 3rd. I'm not sure what that means. He said that he used the toilet in the cell, but also used the toilet water to wash his face. And then down the road, he was also drinking the toilet water.
Man.
So then, this is Jury Exhibit 292, Richard Allen's request for an interview. It reads, I am ready to officially confess to killing Abby and Libby. I hope I get the chance to apologize to their families. Though he describes several times that he admitted and apologized to him about the murders. He also told him that he threw out the box cutter used to kill the girls in a CVS dumpster. But 2 knives were used, and no one ever could say it was a box cutter.
Right.
They didn't know if this was the CVS that he worked at or not. They said despite the confession, his treatment did not change. So then Brad Rossi comes up on cross. He asks about the safekeeping order, saying the Department of Corrections took Allen into custody while the case was pending. They talk about that a little bit. They talk about the layout of Westville. This is a prison that holds 3,000 inmates.
Oh my God.
Where Allen is a maximum security unit that's basically, they describe it as a prison within a prison.
Jesus.
It's one of the 3 most secure prisons in Indiana.
And this is an unconvicted prisoner being held in that unit.
Yeah. They call it the hole.
How did they get away with putting him there? There was no justification for that whatsoever.
No. So he says when inmates are on suicide watch, they're in the special cells on average a few days to a week. But Richard Allen was on suicide watch in that cell for 13 months.
Oh my God.
Rossi asked, and they agreed that they neither were aware of a pretrial detainee ever being held that long in a suicide cell in the state. Yeah. So here's some things that Rossi talked to him about the cell, some points. That Allen came to the prison on suicide watch. The bed is barely off the ground. There was one narrow window that was broken but later fixed. A steel toilet and steel door to a concrete cell. Allen could not interact with general population. Food received through a slit in the door. There was no table or desk to sit and eat. No chair in the room. He had a tablet that was broken but later replaced. Monitored while showered and had to wear a smock while showering. Did not get to leave the cell on Tuesdays. That was a full lockdown day. Jesus. Then when he had visits with his family, they actually transported him to a different facility than Westville. He wore hand restraints with a box over his hands.
To see this.
Yeah.
Is what that means.
Yeah. He wore hand restraints with a box over his hands and wore leg irons. He was not allowed food or drink during the visits, though general population inmates are allowed these things. Rossi tells the court that the attorneys weren't allowed to check their phones when they were in with Allen. Their phone calls with him also weren't recorded, but they had a camcorder to tape their visits with him. Prison officials used force on Allen twice after he had visits with attorneys. Both times he was tased. He says that Allen's companions in the suicide cells were incentivized to tell on him. The companions weren't allowed to speak to Alan or repeat anything Alan said, but they did tell people on the outside things that Alan had said. Rossi adds that the prison guards do not have any former mental health training.
Of course not.
So he asks Galapu a few more questions. He says he did not document any of Alan's verbal confessions made to him. He also says he never talked to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office about Alan and did not follow up on why he was moved out of Westville. And says, I did not neglect my duties.
Yeah, you did. And you also knew that those confessions were bullshit because he was out of his head. Mm-hmm. If he thought those were real, he would have called the police.
Yeah. So Nick McClellan jumps in, Prosecutor McClellan, to clear something up. He says he had Alan on suicide watch as an order from his psychologist. Well, we're going to be hearing from her, and you guys are going to be shocked.
Right, Teresa. And yeah, they are tasing a guy who's had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, they don't care. I think they were hoping that he would die, to be honest.
Right.
So then we have a Westville employee, Ethan Drang. He worked at Westville for 2.5 years and watched Richard Allen on suicide watch. He said his requirements were to document Allen's daily events every 15 minutes. He said the log was made in real time starting at 6 a.m. At 8:46 a.m. on April 5th, Alan said, I think coming to prison has cured my depression and anxiety. Do you want my Bible? Later, he said Alan slipped an interview request under the door. He said he had no training to know when someone is faking a mental health condition. He continued describing Alan's day on April 5th. He said Alan was crying and screaming. He later told the jury that Alan was upset anytime he had to return to his cell. The jury asked some questions. They wanted to know what was inside the yellow envelope. He said it was an interview request. There's apparently a big discrepancy on when that came in, though. There was a note on the yellow envelope from Warden Galapu saying March 5th, but Drang says he received this on April 5th. So just more of the same.
Sounds like it's a fucking circus, this place.
Yep. So the next witnesses are Westville officers who observed Richard Allen while he was on suicide watch. So first we have Officer Michael Clemens, who worked at Westville for 4 years, also monitored Allen and documented his behavior.
Is he one of the Odinist guys?
I don't know. He might be. I'd have to look at the Frank's filing. I'm not sure. So here's some things he said. 7:30 a.m. on April 6th. God, I'm so glad nobody gave up on me after I killed Abby and Libby. 8:01 a.m. I, Richard Matthew Allen, killed Abby and Libby all by myself. Nobody helped me. 8:03, I am not crazy. I'm only acting like I'm crazy. He mentioned a few other quotes of him saying, I'm ready to confess. I don't want to die. And an unspecified moment where Allen was screaming nonsense. He also told the jury that he monitored Allen for several months, for several hours on each shift. He said his behavior changed in random ways. So Brad Rossi asked Clemens if Allen said how he killed Abby and Libby. He said no. Rossi said that Allen's statement at 8:03 a.m. was his response to other inmates watching him. Rossi added that other inmates would taunt him and call him a baby killer. Mm. He then said he was not there when Allen was tased, nor did he see or hear that Allen was smearing or eating feces. He also doesn't believe Allen was acting crazy, saying his behavior was just like a switch flip. Rossi asked him about mental health codes, to which Clemens said if he knew Allen had a code that might have changed his mind, but he didn't know.
But he was in the suicide cell.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. Jesus.
He asked Clemens if he documented when Allen shouted at other inmates, and he said it's possible. Then they have Officer Smith in pool notes. The jury was shown an exhibit featuring Allen's daily log for April 10th. On April 10th, before 4 a.m., Smith documented Allen repeatedly saying his wife's name and running into the door as hard as he could over and over again. Oh. At 2:50 a.m., repeatedly saying expletives while singing God Bless America. 3:35 a.m., my name is Richard Matthew Allen of the National Guard, singing God Bless America. At 3:52 a.m., Alan was running into the door and bracing for impact. Other events noted when Alan began stuffing papers into the toilet, saying, "Chris is my best friend." Smith also said on April 22nd, Alan talked about suicide. "I killed those girls, so I have to kill myself," Alan was documented saying. So then they have Officer Michael Roberts. And he says on April 7th, he heard Alan say, "I want to confess I know a lot." On April 13th, "What more do I got to do?" He said Alan was rolling around on the ground when he said this. On April 23rd at 2 p.m., "I killed Abby and Libby. My wife wasn't involved. I would like to confess." On April 26th, "Can I talk? Can you listen? How do I prove I'm insane?" April 26th, 3:30 p.m., "Why are you doing this? Do you know God?" April 26th, 3:30 p.m., "I'll take some KFC. My grandpa molested me." Some other statements to the jury of that day: "Am I already dead? How do I prove that I'm sane? How can I go home? Am I in jail? I am not a racist. Please help me. God, please help me." A man named
he was
Brandon.
totally sane and confessing. Yeah. Seems legit.
Brandon Fisher also worked at Westville and monitored Alan. He told the jury at 6 p.m. on April 20th. Alan woke up, came to his door, and asked for his Bible. Shortly after, Alan thanked Fisher for watching him. At 6:15, he told Fisher he wanted to talk to the warden to confess of his guilt. He then requested a shower and his Bible. He also was drinking water out of the toilet. And that is Tuesday.
Yeah, he seems same as you and me.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So then, moving on to today, and I apologize this is so long. We are doing 2 days in one, but I think this is all information you guys want to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the day. Sorry, it's dinner time for the dogs. Nellie has a lot to say. All right, so court starts at 9:09 a.m. today. Judge Gold mentions there are logistical security issues that needed to be addressed. That explains the delay in starting. Nancy Grace, as we know, was in the courtroom today, the big celebrity. The prosecution takes a 15-minute sidebar. Finally, at 9:25, the jury enters. Judge Gold says the jury had supervised contact with their phones. So this is when we get Dr. Monica Walla on the stand. She's a contractor and lead psychologist at the Indiana Department of Corrections at Westville, where Alan was housed. At least she was. She tells the jury she handles the more serious cases there. She said initially it was just her that worked with Rick Allen, but then other professionals, including psychiatrists, began to see him as well. She said when she met him, he was unshackled and seated in a cubicle. She started seeing him in 2022. She says he was on suicide watch and watched every 15 minutes by a suicide companion. She tells the jury that things had obviously taken a turn, that Alan would have a safety blanket and kimono outfit. She tells the jury that she wanted Alan to have what he needed, but she couldn't control the conditions of his cell. She said she began sessions with him just to ask him how he was doing. She said she felt he was educated and had done research on his background. She said he was a good communicator. She says on April 5th, 2023, he discusses her case with her unprompted. She says he told her, "I killed Abby and Libby," and became tearful. He said he made sure they were dead because he didn't want them to suffer. He told the jury that his intentions were, or she tells the jury that his intentions were sexual in nature. He thought the girls were 18 or 19, but thought they could have been as young as 11.
She doesn't even know who they are.
He tells her that he's been selfish all of his life and that he wanted to apologize to the victims' families. He also claims he molested his sister and experimented sexually with male and female children his age when he was a kid, and that's where his problems started. She tells
Just
the jury
anything to get himself out of this situation.
He tells the jury he's been an alcoholic since 2011. He told her he accepted God on March 21st, 2023, and expressed remorse for the killings. He says he was appreciative for the clothes and being fed at Westville, and he asked for Bibles and he slept with one, and he wanted to speak with a chaplain. She told the jury he had a bizarre smile and claimed he had memory lapses. She said he confessed in a very matter-of-fact manner. She said she thought he could have been purposeful and instrumental with confessions. She said his normal eye contact was sometimes intense, and she saw intermittent gazing, but then would be normal. His emotions were up and down.
So he's not stable.
She thought he was able to talk about things concisely and chronologically. She said that she thought his depression had improved at this point.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah. On May 2nd, 2023, she says the meeting with Alan was very good and focused on the same topics as before. Again, he tells her that he killed Abby and Libby and he will now kill everyone, and mentions starting World War III. She asked Alan if he would kill himself. Alan told her other inmates tell him to do that. She said Alan told her he would kill himself by standing on the sink, but he didn't want to die. He told her, I am insane, when he asked why he consumed feces. He said that he wanted to die. She said he did not present as psychotic, though she thought at this point he was in brief psychotic disorder remission.
Yeah, okay, because people who eat shit aren't psychotic. Sure.
She told the jury she provided Alan with reading materials and puzzles, and that he was receptive in the beginning. She said he broke his tablet, and she discussed getting him a television, but he declined. She told the jury there was no indication of hallucinations and that Alan had disordered speech. On May 3rd, he wanted to call his wife, but the call did not go through. She says he told her on February 13th, 2017, he went to see his parents on the morning of the murders. He decided not to go to lunch with his mom and decided to drink 3 beers and went to the bridge. He told Walla he saw the girls, he wanted to rape them. He followed them, and while walking, a bullet fell from his gun. Just fell. Just
Fell
like
right
that.
out, as they do.
Then he told the girls down the hill. He originally told investigators he wanted to rape the girls, but he saw a van and got scared, then telling the girls to cross the creek. Then he said he cut their throats and covered their bodies with branches. She told the jury that he seemed almost relieved to say those things. He said if he dies, he wants his wife to know that he loves her and that he didn't want to miss Easter. She said he had no psychotic symptoms at this point. She showed a document from May 5th, 2023 that showed him that he went from being constantly watched to being a close watch, and then went back to being every 15 minutes, and that this signals improvement. 13 months, no.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't signal improvement at all.
No. Then she's shown a document from May 9th, 2023, in which Alan says to Walla, I just want to sign my confession. He mentions self-harm, snapping his neck, and planning his last meal. She said he did not indicate he was exhibiting psychotic symptoms.
Yeah, okay.
On May 10th, she tells the jury that this visit began okay, but he was upset he couldn't use a phone. She got him a phone and he called his wife. She told the jury she left the room, but that Alan said he wanted to call her back and say he did it. She tells the jury that Alan called back and asked his wife if his wife and family loved him, and told her, I killed Abby and Libby. Walla told the jury that his wife Kathy told him to stop saying that, and the phone shut off. He said Alan told her after the call that Kathy did not believe him. She said he was affectionate to Kathy on the phone. Then they show the jurors a report from May 11th, 2023, where he starts the meeting by saying he wants closure and wants to apologize to the families, and he wants to go to heaven and wants to die and say bye to my family. She told the jury that he indicated that his family did not want him to contact them. So then at 12:35, we come back, at 11:08, we come back. The prosecution asks about his physical appearance. She says he was about 250 pounds and had begun refusing meals and over-exercising. She said the exercising seemed positive at first. She tells the jury if you miss 3 meals, they don't report. If you miss 4, they have to report. She said Alan was mindful not to miss the 4th meal. She references another report from November 10th, 2022, where Alan said he felt he was a burden, didn't understand who he should be speaking with about his case because he had not been assigned a public defender. So the next report is April 7th, 2023, where Walla says that he confessed and told him it was not in his best interest that it could get to the media. She told the jury that she felt like he was being more blatant with his confusion. She said he felt like he was purposeful in being that way, like he was faking it.
Okay.
Walla told the jury that Alan said he didn't sign anything, right? The next report is from April 10th, 2023. Walla tells the jury she noticed faking symptoms. She said Alan was naked during this meeting. There were papers on the floor and was doing unknown things to his penis and talking about his wife. He wasn't psychotic, though.
He was not psychotic in the least.
She
Faking
says
it, guys.
The papers on the floor were discovery paperwork for the case. She says it appeared he received the discovery around the time that he started confessing. She says the prison warden did not want other incarcerated individuals to see the discovery papers, and that's why the guards started watching him instead of other inmates.
So let me guess, the discovery papers told him that the girls' throats were cut.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. At this
so
time,
desperate, like, let me just confess and give me the death penalty. I can't do this.
Mhm.
Like, holy shit.
Another report from April 12th, 2023. Alan is masturbating, clapping, banging his head, and naked. He refused to wear his kimono. She said she felt like his behavior was done in order to get something. Oh, this is all faking. Another report was shown from April 13th. She told the jury that his behavior was escalating. He was laying in and consuming his own feces. She said a psychiatrist offered medication and Alan refused. She said the psychiatrist said Alan didn't qualify for an emergency injection.
Oh, yeah, he's just eating shit. No big deal.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't qualify.
Kidding me?
Yeah. So at this time, his watch changes from close to constant. She said she thought he was having an emotional breakdown related to the emergency paperwork, or the discovery paperwork, but she still felt like he was faking it.
Yeah, people fake eating shit all the time.
She told
That's
the jury
faking.
it was getting to the point where it almost doesn't matter whether he's faking it or not because he is deteriorating. Did you go to college, Walla?
Yeah, at all? If he's deteriorating, he's not faking, dummy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
So this is a report from April 17th, 2023, where she tells the jury that his window was greasy and dirty and that he was standing in the cell with his eyes closed praying. She said he agreed to come out of his cell, and then it seemed like he switched from bizarre to coherent. She said he kept his eyes closed for the entire session, said he was having nightmares. That's coherent? Walla tells the jury that Alan says, I just want to tell the truth. I'm afraid I lied so much. She said Alan told her he did vulgar and disgusting things. Alan told her the last thing he remembered was falling asleep and activating a nuclear war. She said his words were disjointed. Walla said Alan received involuntary medication on April 14th, and an improvement was seen. That's Haldol injections they started giving him.
That's what you call chemical restraint.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really treating anything. Haldol is an old antipsychotic that is riddled with side effects, and mostly it's just to sedate the living shit out of somebody.
Mm-hmm. And one thing to note is that he was on Prozac and I think another psychiatric medication that they completely quit giving him when he got to the prison.
Oh, so they cold turkeyed him off an SSRI?
Mm-hmm.
No shit. No wonder he was suicidal.
Mm-hmm. Another report is shown from April 21st, 2023. Walla says she feels Alan's odd behavior not to be genuine.
Oh, yeah.
A report from April 25, 2023. Alan denies experiencing anything like this in the past and thought this could be due to him not taking his Prozac. Right, he's a pharmacy tech. He knows a little bit. She tells the jury she advocated for Alan to visit his wife, which is not typical for patients in Westville. She said Alan continued to ask to be transferred. Well, no shit, Sherlock. He shouldn't have ever been there.
He is still not convicted of a crime.
April 28th, 2023. She observes him on his bed naked and the cell smelled and he asked for a shower. She told the jury that his awareness on his smell was a good sign. She said Alan told her he had not been showering because he was selfish. She said he went on about flushing the Bible down the toilet. She said, I didn't see him as psychotic. It was possible he was severely depressed.
As he's just laying there naked. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And saying he's not showering because he's selfish. And he's flushing the Bible down the toilet. Okay.
Yeah, these things all seem very normal.
At 11:53, the defense begins to cross. So Rossi asks her about her career history, and she says she no longer works for IDOC and is now working at a different facility through a different contractor.
She shouldn't be working anywhere.
He tells the jury that she was following the Delphi murders case far before treating Mr. Allen, and that she followed the case on Facebook through podcasts, and Walla agrees. I'm going to stop here for a minute and tell you a few things. Yes, she was in a whole bunch of different podcasts and chat rooms and Facebook groups following this case long before Allen, and was actively commenting in those groups about Allen.
Holy shit, she should never have treated him.
No, she should not. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the podcasts and groups that she was involved in. If I can remember how to Facebook. Okay. Delphi Murders Uncensored Facebook group. Down the Hill, the Unsolved Delphi Murders Facebook group. Delphi Murders Let's Chat group. Murder Sheet discussion group. Member of Delphi After Dark. Member of Delphi Murders Case Discussion and Fact Checks.
Jesus Christ.
And also...
She has no ethics whatsoever. She should never have met with him, not one time.
No. And then there's a long list of podcasts that she herself posted in a Facebook group that she was listening to. None of them were ours, in case you're wondering. Yeah.
She wouldn't like us.
She was also, yes, in listening to Defense Diaries and in Bob Moda's group as well. Yes. Yep.
She should have immediately said, I have a bias, I cannot.
Yep. But she didn't. In fact, she told somebody that she wanted to be on this patient because it was such a high-profile case that she wanted to be here.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. All right. So getting back to business. And there is an investigation into her currently.
Good.
Because of these things. Yeah.
Jesus.
She tells so he asks, at some point she says she shut all of her social media accounts down. Yeah, because she was in trouble. Yeah. She says that, Rossi says that Walla has said in the past that she was commuting 2 hours every day to Westville for work and listening to Delphi podcasts on the way there. He says that, that she also used the IDOC database to find information about the case, and that the IDOC is investigating her for that, and that's why she's not working there anymore.
Oh my hell. We're like releasing privileged kinds of information.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, this woman is useless.
So she tells the jury that she told IDOC of her interest in the case when they found out that Alan was coming to Westerville. Rossi says that is not true, that she did not do that. He also tells the jury that she was sharing her thoughts with Richard Allen while he was in custody. He
Like her thoughts on the case?
Mm-hmm.
Like just on the investigation?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
So he asks Walla about clinical testing experienced by Allen. She says he was diagnosed with a depression disorder when he got to Westville. He asked Walla if she thought Allen suffered from dependent personality disorder. She says it's possible. She says he was too fragile when he came there to know. Rossi asked Walla about the condition of his cell. She said they wouldn't let him out of that cell. Rossi asks if Allen was a code D of mental health. She confirms.
What does code D stand for, I wonder?
I'm not sure.
I'll look it up.
All right. So then the defense makes their request, of course, to argue Odinism because of the things that Jerry Holman said. We've already discussed that. So then we go back to Dr. Monica Walla. So Rossi continues cross. He asks about what discovery is in this case and asks her to elaborate on his condition when he was booked. She says he had symptoms of depression, confirmed he was a safekeeper, which is an inmate transferred from a jail to a prison with without a present conviction. She says there may have been other safekeepers at WCU, but they didn't stand out. She couldn't think of any. She said when he arrived, he did not have any orientation or training. She described his counseling cubicle as a 3-by-3 foot cubicle. Rossi called it a cage. It's all we have, Walla said. Once he's in the cage, they would take the shackles off.
Jesus.
His transport is in this cubicle or dog cage. It sounds like hell. On December 2022, Walla said Allen pushed for his innocence. In a later report, Allen told Walla he could not get a toothbrush from commissary and could not visit his wife. He said he was being treated worse than others convicted of crimes, and also expressed concerns about the roaches in the facility. Rossi asked Walla to confirm that Westerville was in the process of building a new facility and tearing the original down, which she did confirm. On a report from April 4th, 2023, Allen was experiencing suicidal ideation. On April 13th, she ruled that Allen had a grave disability, which prompted discussion to involuntarily inject him. Walla did not specify what he would be injected with, but later reported that his cognitive state was getting worse. He received his first injection sometime in April, a second on May 18th, and a third shot on June 4th. According to Walla, the shots were supposed to last for 30 days. Well, May 18th and June 4th are not 30 days, are they?
But they have no idea if they will. I mean, it takes genetic testing to know for sure if those shots will last for someone for that long. And frequently they don't.
Mm-hmm.
A code D, it means, so they rate inmates based on their mental health, A through F. Mm-hmm. And someone in code D should still be in general population.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Rossi told the court that Allen confided in him that the shots weren't working, and added on May 18th when he saw Allen, he had 2 black eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
Walla said the third shot was different from the other 2. This one was aimed at stopping all of the head banging. Walla said
was it a different drug?
I don't know. She said Allen's eyes were bulging. Rossi added that he looked like his eyes were bulging out of his head, and she said that was a result of his depression.
Oh, come on.
In August, Walla noticed Allen's eyes were no longer protruding out of his head like they had been for the past 4 months. In November 2023, he weighed 174 pounds. compared to the 250 pounds he weighed when he arrived at Westville. So he had, in the first year he was there, he lost 75 pounds. She said she didn't have any idea what the discovery documents included. She mentioned a psychiatrist named Dr. Martin who helped treat Alan and administer medicine. She said Martin helped with the backlog of mental health care needed at Westville. Rossi then says that Walla destroyed notes she shouldn't have, prompting a back and forth between the two of them. The notes in question were documented during meetings with Alan that she later put together in a Word doc, but destroyed the initial written documents.
So she could put anything in the Word doc.
Mm-hmm. She could have anyway. Mm-hmm. She confirms that Alan has a mental illness, and it's reasonable to believe solitary confinement contributed to that.
You think?
Rossi clarifies with her that the DOC policy states that inmates should not be kept in solitary more than 30 days if they have a severe mental illness, and again verifies that Richard Allen was in solitary for 13 months.
13 months.
She told the jury she questioned the authenticity of Allen's behavior in prison, and then admits she now questions if he was actually just faking it.
Yeah, people fake that stuff for 13 months. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a fucking break.
She says the handwritten notes in her meetings were properly put into a Word doc, and then she had to throw out the handwritten notes due to the nature of the case. She tells the jury she was interested in the case prior to treating Allen. She spoke with 2 supervisors before taking Allen as a patient, and the supervisors did not have issue with Walla's interest in the case.
But was she honest about how heavily involved she was in all of those different groups and stuff? Probably not.
She says she told Allen that he had supporters on the outside in reference to him saying he was sexually abused. When Rossi asked Walla about her interest in the case, she says, I mean, there's always interest. She said she'd look things up on the database for personal reasons.
Well, you're not supposed to use it for personal reasons now, are ya?
Yeah. Then she admits that she visited the High Bridge in Delphi.
Are you serious?
Just to check it out. Yeah. The jury asked some questions about Allen's mental illness, inquiring if brief psychotic disorders can reappear over time, and if he knew the consequences of not eating 4 meals. Wallace said psychotic symptoms of the disorders can reappear after going away, and that he did know the consequences, saying they had discussed it at one point.
Nobody fakes illness like this for 13 months.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to catch malingering just by waiting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when you're malingering, you don't eat your own shit.
Yeah. So then court comes back from break, and Nick McClelland has Brad Weber on the stand. He's a Carroll County resident who lives off of County Road 625 West, just outside of Delphi. He works the first shift at a Subaru plant, and the day of Libby and Abby's murders, he said he went to work from 5:41 a.m. to 2:02 p.m., and his drive home is approximately 20 to 25 minutes. He drove a van, a Ford Econoline van, to work on February 13th. Baldwin asks Weber if he drove straight home on February 13th, to which he says he dropped off a trailer and then went home. He said that was earlier in the day, prompting Weber to scream it and to not deny it a couple of times. So had a pretty hot back and forth with Baldwin. Basically, what they're trying to prove is that time where he said that he was going to rape the girls, but then he saw a van and it startled him, so he just killed them instead. That's what they're trying to prove with this guy. Basically, Baldwin points out he dropped off a trailer that day, so he couldn't have come home at the time that he says he did. So they have a big back and forth, and then he gives Weber a subpoena on the stand, and court adjourns.
I'm surprised. Well, yeah, I'm surprised the judge allowed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, are they wondering about this guy? If maybe was involved? Is that...
Yeah. No, who knows? Yeah. Who knows? It's a disaster. Like, every part of this investigation is a clusterfuck. This doctor, she shouldn't have been questioning him. And she was learning all about this case and repeating things to him in their sessions. Like, how can these confessions possibly be taken seriously?
They aren't confessions. When you're dreaming that you started a nuclear war and confessing in the same statement, that's not a confession.
Yeah.
This man was not of sound mind.
No. No.
They
So,
were torturing him.
yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, they were torturing him. And this is a small part of what the defense is going to bring when they have their turn about the stuff that he went through at Westville. Because, depending on how much they're allowed to bring in, because they've been pretty hobbled, but they're going to bring in a lot more about the abuse, the torture, the medications, the things that Rick Allen went through. But that's what happened today. So I know that was very long, and I apologize for that, but I think you guys want to hear these things, so that's where we are.
Definitely.
This case is so discouraging and upsetting.
It makes me so goddamn mad. That psychologist should lose her license.
She should.
Honestly. She didn't tell the truth about how heavy her interest went into this case and what she was doing.
Yeah.
And sneaky lying bullshit. Oh my God.
Right?
And also, what kind of assessor is she if she doesn't see a guy sitting in his cell naked eating his own shit as psychotic?
Right. Who does that for real?
Just psychotic people. That's who.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just using Haldol. If they were really treating him, it wouldn't be Haldol. Because Haldol is a really old, cheap drug, and that's why they use it. It's not very effective. It has horrible side effects, and pretty much what it does is it just turns somebody into a drooler.
Yeah. So there was, back in July, a hearing that she was involved in, as well as some other IDOC people. And I have a very long transcript that was written up from that, from a podcaster that was in the courtroom. I'm not going to share it with you today, but I'm going to go all the way through it. What they are saying is that she lied left, front, and center today, and that these are things that will come up with the defense.
So what
later
she
down
said
the
in
road.
the previous hearing doesn't match today.
Doesn't match what she said today.
Jesus.
No. So we'll continue to follow that and keep an eye on that, obviously. And this is RM Productions, in case you're wondering. R&M Productions. Here's what they said today. Dr. Walla is lying. If you're interested in her actual clinical notes, we outlined them in great detail after at Corn Dog Court attended the July hearing where Walla testified for hours. And they shared those on their Facebook page. And so I am going to share them with you guys, or on Twitter, sorry. I'm going to share them with you guys in case you are interested in reading them. And I will be reading them as well. But yes, she changed her position from July. So they basically feel like she has perjured herself. But this case is so exhausting. Yeah. No, at Corn Dog Court is a person. That's a handle, a Twitter handle. Yeah. Yeah. So you can read those docs if you want to. I'm going to go through them as well. But those are things we're going to hear a lot more about when the defense has their turn. So
Yeah.
We'll see. I can't imagine what the jury's thinking right now. I mean, this stuff is very hard to hear. The thing is, when Richard Allen was saying, when he wasn't in a prison, in a double prison, the prison inside a prison,
Yeah.
he never gave any doubt whatsoever that he was innocent. He was defiantly innocent. Yeah. Yeah. But once he'd been tortured for a while, all bets were off. who wouldn't be? Yeah.
And under duress like that, confessions mean nothing.
Yep.
That means nothing.
Yeah. But so let's wrap that up just by saying that this case is about Libby and Abby. It's about two girls that were murdered. It's about justice. It's also about our justice system and how it is supposed to operate versus how it's operating right now. And like you said, Kristi said, I just want justice for the girls and for Richard Allen. Indeed. Indeed.
Right?
And for their families. Yep. Yep. So I think we'll hold it there because that's a lot. So
yes, it is.
We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. for our Halloween party. We won't be updating Delphi tomorrow because they'll still be in court at that time. So no Delphi tomorrow, but we are going to have our Halloween party, and we have some really fun stuff planned. You guys, I think, are going to love it. So please come join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. for our special Halloween edition of the True Crime Squad. Otherwise, thank you for being here. Please take good care of yourselves. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for being a part of the squad. We appreciate you guys. Please like, share, follow. If you'd like to tip us, you can do that over at truecrimesquad.com. Never required, but always appreciated. You guys are the best. We'll see you soon.
Yes, you are.
This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.